What's up, everybody? What's up? What's up? How you doing? How y'all feel? Okay. Welcome back to another Papa G show. It's Monday night. I got my pen. I got my paper. I would say I have my brown look, but you know what? I told myself I'm gonna try to cut back on that pause. I'm try to cut back on that pause. You know what I'm saying? But nevertheless, it is a Monday night. I feel good. Do y'all feel good? And as promised, we are here to talk about these raggedy housewives of Atlanta, okay? These raggedy housewives of Atlanta. Listen, I'm not gonna lie to y'all. Um, that first part of the reunion was very hard to sit through because it was just that boring to me. The second part wasn't that bad, and we're gonna get into all the things. We're gonna get into all the things, but just to give y'all a little blast from the past, do y'all remember during the season when Ralph and his lawyer was in the courtroom, or they was in the courthouse or in the conference room, and his Ralph's lawyer's like, "It's a money grab. It's a money grab." Y'all, this three-part reunion is a money grab for NBC Universal. Because why are we here for three parts? Why are we here for three parts? And y'all, the girls are still fighting. Man, I can't believe it. I can't believe it. I can't believe it. I think at this point, I think Andy needs to go on down and get himself a law degree, okay, and become Judge Andy. Because the way these girls are coming in here with manila folders and text messages and time stamps and family trees, at this point, I feel like I'm watching Judge Judy or Judge Mathis. At this point, this ain't even a reunion anymore. This is a court show. But we're gonna get into all of that here in just a second, all right? So as I promised, this is gonna be a twofer. All right, it's gonna be a twofer. I'm gonna do part one and part two tonight. And yes, I'm trying something a little different tonight. I want to see does the sound quality is it a little bit better when I use this headset versus when I don't. Again, y'all stick with me, y'all rock with me. We're gonna get the right equipment and all of that. Thank God we got these lights in here that's doing, some wonders to my soul and to my spirit. Okay, amen. Somebody, but that's why I'm looking like somebody call center representative right now, just trying to try something a little new. All right. Nevertheless, let's jump into it. Okay, let's jump right on into it. Listen, let's start with the intro of part one. Right, the ladies show up. All right, they got their luggage and they're showing up in their black cars and all of that. And it gets to Portia's room. It gets to Portia's room. I know I'm going out of order. I'm doing this for a reason because I'm gonna get to Kelly in a minute. We get to Portia room. It's 6:30 in the morning, and my girl is knocked out. My girl got a plate of open food. My girl is knocked out. Okay. Apparently, my girl took 3 magnesium pills. Okay. And if you don't know what magnesium does, magnesium relaxes you. Okay. It makes you real relaxed. And according to Miss Phaedra, it gives you the bubble guts too. Now that ain't been my testimony when I've had magnesium, because Papa get these IVs because he got to stay hydrated and help out with the skins and all of that. But that ain't never been my testimony. But I definitely have felt relaxed after having a magnesium, inserted into the IV. That's just my little personal testimony. But going back to Kelly though, Kelly is getting dressed, and you know she has a new team. Baby, she has branded her team with these T-shirts that says Kelly's team. Y'all, when I tell you that is the most top level thing of petty, okay, I had like really, y'all, I forgot my water too. Lord have mercy. Okay, we might have to take an early commercial break to get me some water, but um, when I tell you that that is the most asinine thing the most asinine thing. I think she did that because she really truly thought Britt was going to be there, and she thought she was going to get a rise out of Britt. But baby, Britt said she ain't coming. Britt Edie said that she thanked y'all for y'all thoughts and prayers, and she thanked y'all for this opportunity, but she's going to seek employment elsewhere. Okay? She's going to go seek employment elsewhere, and in that time, she's going to go heal and all this other stuff. Again, I said it in my last video. Y'all, these new housewives are fickle. I mean, they fickle. Okay? To me, once you found out that the stuff that was plastered on the poster board wasn't you, to me, I'm coming back strong. Cause see, all them comments that y'all calling me a hoe and all this other stuff. Now I'm about to get into y'all's business. Hmm? Who y'all spreading y'all legs for? Who y'all dropping it low for? Cause y'all was all up in my business, calling me all types of whores, baby. It's just anyway. Moving right along, y'all. It's 8:30 in the morning. Filming is supposed to start at 9 o'clock, and nobody is ready. Everybody's still walking around in their robes trying to figure out where the hell Brit is. And I'm still here going, how? I, I'm gonna tell you what I really thought. I thought about when the Devil Wears Prada and Miranda or Mel Streep, who plays Miranda in the Devil Wears Prada, when she's in her office and she's trying to get a look together, and she looks around, she's like, nobody's ready. That is exactly how I felt when Phaedra said it's 8:30, and Portia's like, "What time we need to film? What time we supposed to be there?" 9 o'clock. Girl, you might as well be late. You might as well be late. Um, and then two, these new housewives, I don't understand. Excuse me, I don't understand why they're late. Andy gets there, he sits in his chair. It's 11:30, and nobody is there. I can understand some of the OGs taking their time and all because they know Andy. They done been through this ish before. They know it's gonna be a long day. They know the ropes around all of this stuff. But them new housewives, y'all should have been front and center. Y'all should have been front and center. I don't know where you think you can go on a job and be 3 hours, 4 hours late and expect to get paid for a full day. Okay, us regular folks, when they say we gotta be there at 8 o'clock or 9 o'clock or 7 o'clock, they may give us to 15 minutes after our, supposed arrival time. But after that, baby, they docking pay, they writing us up, baby. The privilege of it all. Remember what I said in my last video, baby. Everybody got privileges, okay? Privileges ain't just reserved for the white folks. Everybody got the privilege. And these ladies sure enough showed they privileged asses by being 2.5 to 3 hours late. Okay. But it was quite funny seeing Andy sitting up there though. Andy was like, oh my, this is baby, that inner white man came out in Andy, baby, this is ridiculous. This is ridiculous. I don't Now he didn't say nothing because he knew his ass was being filmed. He knew if he would have said anything, baby, we would have been on his ass like white on rice. But let me tell you something though. If you go back and watch that video, go back and watch part one, you can see it in Andy's face. Baby, that inner white man is coming up, okay? Oh, hi. That's that old hi, like, why the hell you wasn't here 2.5 hours ago? Y'all got the damn email. But anyway, moving right along in this intro. Um, Shamia makes a face when Portia comes on the scene. And baby, that if that's not foreshadowing, I don't know what is. Okay, I whoever got that look on Shamia's face, whatever cameraman got that, I mean, kudos to you because when I tell you, that was the definition of foreshadowing. Oh yeah, that was the definition of foreshadowing. So I'm really am here for it. Okay, and so they get to the point, and Britt it's announced to the ladies that Britt is not coming. And then if you look at the couch scene, it's on the left side, it's Portia and Phaedra, and then on the right side it's Shamia, Angela, Kelly, and Drew. Now, I don't understand why they couldn't just put Drew on the other side. Like, I don't understand why they. I mean, hell, everybody was late. By the time they start, by the time they said action, they knew Britt ass wasn't gonna be there. So why didn't they just go ahead and move Drew to the other side? It just didn't make any sense. And then wait to bring Miss Cynthia Bailey out. But baby, they said Cynthia, come on out, baby. Come on out, baby. We need you right now because it's kind of empty on this side of the couch. Baby Cynthia thought she was a damn housewife all over again. She came, she said, "Oh, I wasn't ready to be here this early. I was not ready to be here this early." And so, which leads me to Portia's comment. Portia's comment. So they go. Andy goes around. He does what Andy does. He introduces himself, or he introduces the ladies and all of that. Cool, kumbaya. It's the calm before the storm. That was probably the most calmest moment of the whole reunion. Honestly, was when Andy goes around and says, "Hi, hi," and so Portia talks about she got her breasts. They sitting up and they sitting out. Okay. And Portia makes a comment. She's like, "You gotta sniff them, smell them." And Andy's like, "I think that's an HR issue because Andy know, baby, Andy know because his ass is in trouble. Okay, for being too handsy with some of the housewives, allegedly. At least that's what the lawsuit alleged. I mean, I don't know that to be true. Let me go ahead and put my little thing up here, baby. All commentary is alleged. Okay, allegedly, that's what people are saying that he was a little too handsy um with some of the housewives. So moving right along. I got a note on here that just says Phaedra look a mess. Um and yeah, Phaedra looked like something out of Game of Thrones, if I'm being quite frank. She looked like something off of Game. If like Game of Thrones had a hood version, that's Phaedra right there, baby. That is exactly how I feel about Phaedra's look. It was a hot ass mess. It really was. Um, so when they talk about Britt not coming, Portia says that she talked to Britt the night before, and she didn't, and Britt did not allude to her not coming to the reunion. And so what this makes me believe is that Britt knew she wasn't coming. Like when Britt took off her mic at Angela's and Charles' event at the season finale episode, Britt quit then, y'all. Like she did. And she knew she did. She made her play along, made her play it along, and made it seem like she may be coming to the to the reunion for NBC Universal sake. But Britt quit then. In her mind, she was done with that ish um at the season finale. So I don't understand why it was a big shock. But this is why I say Britt did this to be just attention seeking. Everything Britt has been doing here lately has been attention seeking. showing off what would have been your reunion look. Girl, you should just went to the damn reunion. Talking about how hurt you are and all this stuff. I mean, as much as I didn't like what Kenya did um, to Britt, in the grand scheme of things, and again, I know I cannot talk because I have not had anybody post any type of illicit materials and put it on a poster board for all to see. I have not had that happen to me, so I don't know what that feels like. I don't. But just going back through Housewives history, that's really, I mean, it's big in this moment, and it gave us something to talk about for many weeks. But in the grand scheme of things, it's not that big of a deal, especially now since allegedly that's not even you in the on those posters. It actually makes Kenya look just dumb. It just makes Kenya look dumb. And so yeah, I again go back to my first comment. These new housewives are fickle. Britt should have been at the reunion. That's just my take on it. But then Drew announces that Britt is possibly suing her. She is possibly suing Drew because of apparently, and it's kind of told later, but apparently Drew um, gave the material to Kenya for the poster board, allegedly. Allegedly. So, like I said, Cynthia comes out, baby, and then Andy talks about her role as a friend. I know a lot of people have given Cynthia a lot of flack, you know, but I gotta say that I really liked her as a friend this season. I did. I think that's a good role for her, and I think that Cynthia is a housewife slash friend that can play well with other casts in the Bravo universe. Okay, we've seen her on Real Housewives of Beverly Hills. I think that if she was ever in DC, Virginia, Maryland area, and she wanted to pop in on them girls in Potomac, I think she could. Right? Um, did we see her on Married to Medicine? I'm not sure, but again, I'm sure that if she wanted to, if she wanted to get with Dr. Jackie and revamp Fit is the New It, you know, um, she could. And so that's what I like about Cynthia as a friend of the show role. I mean, she to me, I've always said this. Cynthia never did give me full housewife energy. Um, her scenes, she has some good scenes, but her as a friend, I really did like it. And then y'all, did y'all catch that little shade that Andy threw? Andy is a shady son of a gun. Okay, that man is shady for real. So Andy gonna sit up there and say, "Well, Cynthia, it seems like you were the glue for this season, because y'all know in episode one, Shamia just made this bold statement saying that she is the glue. I am the glue. Well, baby, if you are the glue, then you must be that rose art glue. That glue that we got in grade school that, we had to, put it on the back and we had to rub it. It was in a stick. You had to twist that tube up and you was rubbing it. I mean, you was just up there rubbing it. You put something on it, you hold it up to your teacher and it'll fall because the glue wasn't sticking. Yeah, that was some. If that is the type of glue Shamia is, baby, we don't need it. You at least got to be Elmer's baby if you're gonna call yourself the glue of the friendship. I ain't saying you got to be gorilla glue or hot glue. You could, but you at least got to be some Elmer's. And baby, you didn't even give us Elmer's this season, okay? But try again next season. That's what I gotta say. Try again next season. Make that statement and actually put some action behind it, and then we'll see. You know, we'll judge it from there. But yeah, you was not giving glue. You just wasn't. All right, ding, ding, ding. Here's the first round: Kelly versus Portia. Kelly says, "Baby, our marriages are not the same. You cannot. You cannot compare your divorce to mine. Okay, we are not. We are not the same bird. Okay, we do not have the same feathers, so we are not flocking together. Okay, I was married for 11 years. You was married for 11 months. Okay, these are not the same. And and look, I think that I think Portia came to this reunion with an agenda. Portia came to this reunion with an agenda. Maybe she's in a better place now, or maybe she has looked at the season and saw that, the things that she was doing just didn't make any sense. She was really putting 20 on 10, you know. I don't know, but she came here with an agenda to to fix, to apologize, to move forward and all this other stuff. And I think in that moment what she was trying to do, as I think she was trying to relate to Kelly, because baby, it seemed like every one of these ladies are getting a divorce. Drew getting a divorce, Portia getting a divorce, Kelly getting a divorce. Y'all, when are we gonna start seeing some black families? When are we gonna start seeing some housewives? Okay, not ex-housewives, housewives. When are we gonna start seeing that again? I would love to see it. I would love to see it, but um, yeah, I think that's what Portia was trying to do, and Kelly wasn't here for it. Okay, she said, "Baby, you are comparing apples to peaches." She's she's comparing apples to peaches. Moving right along, baby. I just got Shamia line, and I think what I meant by that is that it gets to the point where the origin story of Simon and Portia comes up. And y'all, the timeline doesn't make sense, and this origin story just seems to change. It just seems to morph into something that maybe we as the viewers will find palatable. But I'm here to tell you, as a viewer, this will never seem palatable until we get the full truth and nothing but the truth. And we have yet to get that, because it's alluded to that Shamia set up Angela, because Angela said it, y'all. Um, Angela basically said that Shamia set up Portia and Simon, and Shamia's like, "No, I did not say that. No, no, I did not do that. I did not do that." Well, and then they flash back to when they was in Nashville. Well, when you're basically saying, "Oh, I was there in the beginning. I was there at the inception." One can think, well, okay, if you was there at the inception, were you the were you the point, right? Were you the point that brought this line and this line together? Were you that point? Were you that glue? Again, she was giving Rose Art glue, babe, because guess what? If she was the matchmaker between Simon and Portia, baby, it's shown enough failed. It's shown enough failed. Again, just like that rose art glue, just falls apart, baby. Just falls apart. But they asked Portia. Portia, did Shamia set you and Simon up? And Portia paused. She paused and then she said no. And I don't know if that pause was for dramatic purposes. Was it to get your lie together? Or was it you trying to give Shamia an out? Because I don't know. I don't know what that is. But that pause was very suspect to me. It was very suspect to me. Now, our good friend Kim Power posted a video way back in the gap talking about how on Instagram, Portia said that Shamia was the best matchmaker ever. And in that picture, I guess Shamia posted a picture of Simon and Portia, and Portia came underneath the comment saying best matchmaker ever. So the question remains is that who telling the truth? And Shamia, if you did and if you were the matchmaker, baby, just own it. In the words of Lisa Rinna, own it. Just own it. Yeah, I introduced these two people, and that's all you got to say. You ain't got to go into the whole minutia of, well, I didn't know that he wasn't married. You ain't got to go to all of that. You ain't got to go to all that. Just go as far as to say, yes, I introduced these these people. Plain and simple. Okay. I'm gonna talk about two more things. I got more notes on here, but like I told y'all, this is okay. Here, I do want to bring this up, y'all. Why does Phaedra keep talking about she was only there for 10 days? Like she emphasized that she was only there for 10 days. Why? You said it once. You said it once when you first came back, or towards the end of this. We know that you wasn't there all season. You ain't got to. You ain't got to keep telling us that you was only there for 10 days. You ain't got to keep telling us that you was there for only 10 days. Because now it's getting to the point of why you keep bringing this up. Is it because you're trying to get us, the viewer, to think that in 10 days there is no possible way that you could have set this whole thing up that Angela's talking about? Is that why you keep saying that you've only been here for 10 days? Because again, how could you plausibly um, get set up a scheme like this in 10 days? Well, they say you the godfather of Atlanta allegedly. So 10 days is actually more time than what you need. Hell, you probably got a couple of days in there to rest. To be honest with you, that's what the people say. But yeah, I'm gonna talk about these last two things, and then we're gonna move on to this into this to the next part of the reunion, and that's this: Portia versus Drew. So Drew says that Portia's return was a flop, and in some ways, I have to agree with that. I have to agree with that. I think that Portia was supposed to come back and she's supposed to give us this whole fabulous life. I feel like if her and Simon would have worked it out, I feel like the storyline would have been this is me and Simon's love story. And I think it would have been a very conjured up love story. They would have mentioned the People magazine stuff, and And Portia would have just felt like she was just all in love and living just this fairy tale life, okay? Baby, she would have thought that she was the ooh, she would have thought that she was the lady on Coming to America, baby. Baby, but Portia would have made you feel like she was marrying Prince Akeem, okay? She would have made you feel like she was marrying Prince Akeem, baby. She would have made you feel like she was the next queen of Wakanda, okay? But that's not what happened. Her and Simon couldn't make it work it out. So instead of getting all this fairy tale, we get nothing. And in that instance, I have to agree with Drew that her return was a flop in that sense. It was a flop. And then Portia going to retort, well, you need to be worried about who's flipping and who Ralph flipping and flopping in that basement, y'all. Can I make a public service announcement, please? To all housewives across all cities, can you please stop making a man or lack thereof a read? Because it's not a read. This ain't the 1800s. This ain't the 1950s. Okay? Aretha Franklin said it best. Sisters are doing it for themselves. It We see time and time again how women have evolved, how and what I mean by evolved, like they can do things on their own. Because at one point in time in this country, women couldn't even get a credit card without having a co-signer. Women didn't even have the right to vote at one time in this country. So the fact that women are CEOs, the fact that women are business owners, the fact that women are content creators, sisters are doing it for themselves. They don't need a man. A man adds to their already fabulous lifestyle, or enhance, I should say. It enhances their fabulous lifestyle. Because now it's two of us getting to this bag instead of just one. Please stop making a man, or lack thereof, a read. It's lazy. Thank you. Moving right along. Um, Drew's comeback was good though. She said, Simon says you have no storyline. Simon says you have no story to tell, baby. That's what Simon says. I'm a sucker for a good pun, baby, and Drew, you delivered it. I'm happy. I'm happy for it. Okay. And then Shamia. Shamia always got to find herself in some drama between Portia and Drew that don't concern her. Why? Well, how is it that you know you call me a lapdog because I'm standing up for my friend, but but why is it that you say that like just let it go? And I may be getting ahead of myself. I may that may be in part two when she said that. Hold on, let me look at my notes. Let me look at my notes. Yeah, that's in part two when she said that. But Shamia did insert herself in this drama, and then Drew's like, "Girl, go sit on Portia's lap." And in this instance, I have to agree because, like, why are you interjecting? These are two grown women who are intelligent, who know how to formulate sentences. I think they can handle their own. They cover all the ground that they stand on. I think they can handle their own. I think they'd be okay. I really truly do. Sit there, look pretty. All right. Last thing I'm gonna talk about, actually, the last two things I'm gonna talk about is again Portia and Drew make up, and Angela is quick, babe. She said 17 episodes later, here we go. Because again, why couldn't y'all make up earlier? again because Portia didn't have a story to tell, so she had to drag something out. I was just really triggered when I saw you, Drew. Why? Because she's with your baby daddy? That shouldn't trigger you. Because if you wanted that man, you could have that man. You could have had that man. But you didn't want that man. So you left that man. So why is that triggering? Why is that triggering? Last thing I'm gonna talk about this, and then we're gonna take a quick commercial break. Is baby, an alliance was apparently formed between the new girls minus Angela. And Shamia gonna sit up there and say, "Yes, I started. I guess I wanted an alliance. I wanted one with me and Kelly and Britt and Portia." And Portia's like, "Girl, where, where was I part of this alliance? Cause I don't think no, cause I wouldn't be a part of the whole alliance because an alliance hinders a show, and it does. It does. The ironic part about all of this, Portia saying that, is that her and Shamia was in a quasi alliance against Drew. So, and I'm gonna give my thoughts on alliance when we talk about because that bleeds into the second part of the reunion. Y'all give me 1 second. Let me go up here and get some water real quick, okay, y'all? And we will be right back after these uh quick message commercial break, okay? Y'all go get y'all go get y'all something to eat, go use the restroom, because we got more Atlanta when we come back. And we are back. Thank y'all so much for the quick commercial break, baby. I got my H2O. Praise the Lord. Okay. Thank y'all so much. I hope y'all was able to grab y'all a snack or something. Okay. If you are just tuning in, if you're just tuning in, listen, we are talking about these raggedy housewives of Atlanta, baby. Okay. That's what we're talking about. Now we are on part two. All right. But before we move on into part two, I really just want to take this moment out and send my sincerest condolences to the Warner family. If you have not heard, Malcolm Jamal Warner, better known as Theo Huxtable from the Cosby Show, has suddenly passed away. Um, TMZ TMZ announced it, people confirmed it, and the cause of death seems to be an accidental drowning. So please just send your thoughts, your prayers, and everything else that you can, all the positive energy that you can to the Warner family. It's very hard when you lose someone tragically and suddenly at that. I mean, it's tragic anytime you lose somebody, but it's even worse when it's sudden. All right. All right, y'all. We on part two. We are on part two of the reunion. Okay. And for those of you who's like, JT, why haven't you talked about Angela's receipts? Because I'm saving it for the part two because that's where it really just led into it. So let's talk, first thing is like I told you before we took our commercial break is I never understood an alliance. I don't. Alliances ruin shows, especially alliances ruin these types of shows. Another show where an alliance really ruined it is Married to Medicine. Basically, when Quad and Mariah got into it and they fell out, there was an allegiance to Quad for a certain amount of time, and then all of a sudden it shifted and it turned when Sweet Tea and Gregory entered into the chat or entered back on the show, I should say. Just in case y'all didn't get my slang reference, entered the chat. So these types of things ruin shows. And you know what? I look at Shamia a little bit differently because like you've been although you have not been a full time housewife, you have not been a peach holder, but you've been around long enough to know that alliances like this are not good for the show. I think that we give Shamia so much grace, but in actuality, although she has not, again, been a peach holder, she's been around long enough to know the rules and of engagement. She's been around long enough to know, and so I'm just I'm just disappointed with Shamia this season, and I like Shamia. I want to like Shamia, but it's just at this point, it seems to me that you are so well, maybe not this point because baby, the girls are fighting. Okay, and we're gonna get into that in a minute, but um it seems to me that during the season you was trying to preserve you and Portia's friendship so bad that I think you did it at the detriment of yourself. And it seems like that is a pact. And we're gonna talk about more about that later on when we talk about the show. But um my God today. My God today. That just some just saw just blew right past me, y'all. My bad. Um So it's Angela versus Phaedra, okay? And and Angela, Angela is smart. Angela is pretty. Angela is quick. But Angela is not a good detective. She needs to stop. Stop stop playing detective, Angela, because you're not good at it. You're not good at connecting dots. You're not good at giving a smoking gun because the receipts that you gave, I didn't know what to do with it. Maybe they production cut it out to where it didn't make sense. I don't know. But the fact that this Marcus person knew Phaedra's brother or sister or Amy or whatever the case may be, I don't know how that came about. I can't recall because I kind of just put it out of my mind. If I'm being honest with you, when stuff don't make sense to me, y'all, I really just put it out of my mind. That's probably a wrong thing to do, but in this instance, I don't think it is. Okay, this did not make any sense. I've been saying that since I recapped the final, the season finale, that this didn't make any sense. So I'm not gonna spend too much time on it, besides to say that Angela is a lot of things, but a detective is not one of them. If she really wants to solve a mystery, she needs to go to her dermatologist, her primary care doctor, okay, and her plastic surgeon, and figure out why nobody believes she is 44 or 43. She needs to figure out why people do not believe that she is in her 40s. That is the mystery that you need to be solving, Miss Angela Oakley. Okay? Leave this whole Junebug and Marcus and the schemes and all. Leave all that alone. You need to figure out why people do not believe your age. The fact that you have to bring out your birth certificate. Y'all, we had a birthism, a birther movement in the Real Housewives of Atlanta. I thought we would never see it. Again, going back to my last video, baby, when Nene said that she was 43, Nene didn't come out with no damn birth certificate. Nene said, I'm 43, to be exact. I'm 43. And that was that. And that was that. Sidebar. Can we stop bringing all of these manila folders and props to the reunion? It's getting played out now. Okay? Reunions of yesteryear, baby, all you had was your words. You didn't have no props. You had your words, and you had to convince Andy and us that this was the truth. What you were saying was the truth. Okay? That is what we had to go on. But now, but now we got all these receipt books and all this other. So that's why I said at the beginning of the show, Andy needs to go ahead and get his law degree. And baby, we should just call this the judgment. Instead of reunion, call it the judgment. We're gonna bring a case. You and y'all bring y'all receipts. Okay, guess what? After we read the receipts, this is what we believe is to be true. Next case. That's really what it should be. I think that'd be more entertaining, honestly. I think that'd be more entertaining. But anyway, I don't know how I got on that sidebar. My bad, y'all. Angela's memory is also golden. My girl got the memory of an elephant. She really do. Because everything that she said, that somebody said, baby, production was Johnny on the spot and they played it back. Again, Angela has a great memory. Angela has great skin. Angela has a great personality. But Angela is not a detective. Let it go, baby. Okay, leave that leave that stuff alone. Next season, please, please. All right. They read statements from Britt and Kenya. Kenya apologizes. Um, I really do like how Kenya is saying on our minds. Like she went to YouTube and she is really giving her thoughts and making her own confessionals and all this other stuff. Like it really, I like how she's staying on top of our minds. And I hope that since Britt is not returning, I hope they do bring her back. Um, but I think honestly, I think they're gonna ice her out. If you want my honest opinion, I think they're gonna ice her out. Um, and they're gonna lay it off on legal reasons. That's my thought. I hope I'm not true. I hope I'm not, but I feel like that's what's gonna happen because again, it's all fine and dandy when you say your little blurbs and you make your little shady comments. I mean, a company can write that off, right? But when you go as low as Kenya did, I mean, that's a whole different type of legal situation. And given the climate that we're in, after the whole Me Too movement and all of that, it just no studio or company, broadcast company really wants to go through that. They don't want to go through that. And because of that, again, I think that's why they're gonna put her on ice. I do, I do. Moving right along. Again, yeah, this is just my little business mind. Okay, I like to draw out the business connections when I can. Okay, when I went on down there, when I went on down to that school that I tell y'all about, when I went on down there to that Baylor University, baby, okay, and got my degree in accounting and my MBA, they taught me a little thing about strategy, baby. Okay, they taught me a little thing about strategy, just a little bit, and so we're gonna see. We're gonna see. Y'all, I make this note, and I said, why does Shamia sound like she crying every time she talks? Like in part two, it just sounds like she's just on the verge of crying. Like, I was just, it was just so sad, and I was just want to tell you, Angela, like, why would you think that? Like, girl, like, are you about to cry? Just cry. If you gonna cry, cry, baby. If you gonna shed a tear, shed a tear. But quit. Open up your mouth and talk. Okay. Angela versus Drew. Angela said that she felt like Drew was not there for her, especially during the whole market stuff because Drew was silent. My girl was radio silent for her to be there with and doing all this investigating with Angela. Yeah, I would have thought I would have thought that Drew would have spoke up a little bit more. But let me tell you why Drew did not speak up. Okay, let me tell you why Drew. Y'all think Drew dumb? Drew ain't dumb. She really not. Okay, she do some dumb stuff and she lie. She tell a bad lie when the truth will suit her better. But Drew is not dumb by a long shot. After hearing it and after seeing the lady faces and after Drew read the room. Drew read the room at that Charles Oakley event. And she said, you know what? Instead of adding fuel to the fire, I've done enough by investigating and bringing this man here. I ain't gonna add no more fuel to this fire. I'm not gonna talk about what was said. Because these ladies are just waiting on to jump on me, baby. So in this moment, I'm gonna let Angela have it. Now, is that a good friend? No. But I understand it though. I understand it. And baby, let me tell you something. When the ladies jumped on Drew, and that's another thing. Why did they all jump on Drew when Angela said that? As if they just been the biggest supporters of Angela. They have not been the biggest supporters of Mrs. Oakley. They have not. But when Mrs. Oakley said that about Drew, everybody was like, "Ooh, yeah, yeah, yeah." That was very wrong. And then here comes Shamia inserting herself again. How is it that you know that that you can say that you understand and you can excuse Angela because you know what she was going through, but why can I not excuse uh, my relationship? You know what I'm saying? Because what Portia was going through, girl. Because here's the thing: Angela and Drew just met each other. You and Portia have a history. They go back years, if not a decade or so. And from what we see, time and time again, Portia didn't show up for you. Portia been your friend since Huck was a pup. How did she not know your singing voice? Even in the reunion, he gave praises to Drew on her project, but she didn't say shit about Shamia. But that's your road dog. That's your day one. Listen, even if I let me tell you something, I'm gonna give y'all a little anecdote. I'm gonna give y'all a little anecdote real quick. Me and my homeboy got into it a long time ago, right? This is back when I was down at that Baylor University. Me and my homeboy got into it, right? And we were not in the best of place. But he had a show. He had a show. And I'm not gonna be that friend that all because we beefing, I'm not gonna come and support. So I went to the show. And he's like, "Oh my gosh, I can't believe you came to the show." Yeah, I'm gonna come to the show. Like I was there with you when you was writing most of the music anyway. Of course I'm gonna come to the show. So we good now. We still got some stuff we need to talk about. But again, that's to me, if that's your road dog, your day one, no matter what's going on right now, I feel like Portia, you should have at least said, you know what, Shamia's, although her album and stuff hasn't came out, the singles that have dropped, they're really good. And left it at that. And left it at that. So then they get into it and they talk about um Britt and what she said about Shamia regarding Shamia's daughter. Now, in this instance, I'm gonna have to ride with Britt just a little bit, just a little bit, because it does. Britt did have a point when she said, "Well, you said your daughter was sick and she was, very ill, very sickly. Why did you? And you felt so bad. Why didn't you just go straight to Atlanta? Why did you make a pit stop in Florida to, party some more? You know?" And and look, that's a valid question. That's a valid question. But where Britt went wrong at is she took it a step further. She went on to say, "Oh, and that probably means that your daughter wasn't as sick as you made it out to be." That's where Britt was wrong. That's where she crossed the line. But Shamia, you made it seem all this time that Britt was talking about your daughter left, right, and center, or that she went so low to where it's just unforgivable. And I'm sorry, although she went low, I think in time you can forgive that. I think in time you can forgive that. Because if anyone in my family was sick like that, And I mean, it brought me to that emotional. It brought me that emotional distress. Yeah, I'm not going to go and party with a friend. I'm going home. I'm going home and I'm going to figure out what's going on with my baby. That's what I'm going to do. But again, people don't think like me though, and that's fine. You know, that's fine. Then we go to Phaedra versus Shamia. Okay, and basically they bring up old stuff. You know, that Phaedra had said about Shamia. And my thing is, why didn't we deal with this in the past? Why didn't we deal with this in the past for real? Like this could have been done, easily said and done. But yet we're talking about it right now. And so, you know, Phaedra apologizes to Shamia. Now, did she mean it? I'm going to assume that she did. You know, I don't too much like apologies. Well, I'm apologizing now. But why now? Are you apologizing because there's cameras? Because like if you like you said this stuff years ago and you didn't feel a need to have an apology, even in the private conversation, you felt like you didn't need to have an apology. And Phaedra's defense to that was, well, Shamia downplayed it. Shamia said it wasn't a big deal. And okay, I can get with you on that. But here's the thing though, and that is even if it's not a big deal, I think it's just common courtesy. Is to, hey, you know what? Even though you said it wasn't a big deal, let me apologize for that. I was wrong for that. I was wrong for repeating that. But then this is where I gotta fault Shamia. Shamia, why are you downplaying? You that's nothing to brag about. Y'all know I downplay everything y'all say against me. Why? Shamia, you matter, baby. You matter. So why are you not speaking up for yourself? Seriously. Why? Anyway, hold on. I really need to like pause for a moment to get a good thumbnail. But I ain't we just gonna keep moving, y'all, because this is getting a little long. All right. Um Cynthia and Angela points out Shamia's hypocrisy. And that is she would say that something is fine, she's cool, but then she'll come in these confessionals and be shady, or she'll go on a show and be a little shady, and then Shamia's responsible. Well, I was asked the question. See, here's the thing, and I ain't gonna stay on this too long because I'm guilty of this too. But you can't sit up there and say something is fine, right? And it's really not, and you're not cool with it. But because you're just so non-confrontational, you're gonna say that it's fine, and then make slick comments here left, here right, here, and here, and then use what I was asked the question to justify that. Because if it was fine, then you wouldn't feel the need to make a slick comment. You see, when people make slick comments, it's because we don't hit a nerve. Okay, we didn't hit a nerve. I know this is me. My mouth is very reckless when you step on that nerve. It is. Okay? And for those who know. But it's a defense mechanism. Because instead of me just being an adult and saying, you know what, that really hurt my feelings, I want to show that I'm strong and I'm tough and I'm gonna come right back at you. But that doesn't heal you. That doesn't do anything for you. what that really does is that, and especially with somebody like Phaedra, is that, Phaedra can come back and then say something, and guess what? Now you're gonna feel lower than dirt, because we all know Miss Phaedra Parker got a mouth on her. I hope Shami is in some type of counseling for this stuff for real, because that sounds like some deep rooted childhood stuff for real. Okay, look, that's what mine was. Okay, that's what mine was. But anyway, moving moving right along. Um, Shamia up here talking about that she didn't throw shade in Grenada about. Yes, you did, baby. Yes, you did. You said it in a blanket way because all you ladies are affluent, but you was really that whole soliloquy at the table was pointed towards Brit. Brit picked it up, and if the ladies want to be honest with themselves, they picked it up too. Shamil, you threw shade. I hate to say it, baby, you did. Okay, you did, and it's okay. It's okay. And by the way, while we on Shamia, because we about to close this on out, Shamia prop flopped. If you want to talk about flopping, um, yeah, that prop flopped because why are again like who cares if Drew has a fake bag? Out of all the ish that she allegedly lies about, you gonna talk about a bag? And your defense is, well, if you will lie about a bag, who what else you will lie about? You see, so Shamia is talking out of both ends of her mouth because in the very first episode, Shamia said, "I hate being defined by my wealth. I hate being defined by my wealth." So why are you going to use somebody's wealth and weaponize it? Because what you're saying is that you're not wealthy enough like everyone here at this reunion. Everybody else stuff is real. Yours is fake because you're not wealthy enough. You can't hang with us. And I don't and I that's hypocrisy. Yet again, you although you say you don't like being defined by your wealth, the fact that you went to a material thing to point out that she lied shows that you like the money. You like the wealth. You like the bags. You like the vacations. You like your home. Because why do you need Versace wallpaper? I mean, you spend your money however you want to spend it. That's your money. But I'm just saying, why you need it? Just to say you have Versace wallpaper? Well, baby, I told you we're gonna talk about how the girls are still fighting, and we're gonna end on this. The girls are still fighting. Okay, baby, on the Instagram was hot. Excuse me, and heavy today with receipts. Portia and Shamia are going back and forth. Portia was showing receipts on, things that she did as she sent flowers and she congratulated Shamia when she became a full time housewife. Drew is showing an invoice for the bag that she bought. And Shamia is telling Portia that she can keep her fake ass friendship and also telling Drew that, baby, look at the fake one and look at the one that she had on camera. They're the exact same. They are the exact same. So that's it, y'all. That's all I got. Rituals I don't have any more. Thank y'all so much for taking some time out of your day to watch the Papa G Show. We will be back Friday with the Papa G Show. We're gonna talk about all the fun things that happened this week, right? Um, as always, do the Holy Trinity, y'all. I need the Holy Trinity. Be a part of the exclusive club. Okay, studies show that less than 20% of you all will actually subscribe. Be a part of the exclusive club, y'all. Like, comment, and subscribe, and hit the bell on the side so you can be notified. And if this touched your shondo, if you love what you're hearing and within the content that you are consuming, tell a friend or two because baby, it's gonna bless you. I promise you. I promise you that. Until next time, y'all. I'll see y'all around. I holla.